welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and what an absolutely crazy episode of Gen V that was. It's easily up there as being my favourite in the entire series, and I'm so hyped to talk about what happens in it. Throughout this video, we're going to be breaking it all down, going through the Easter eggs, hidden details, and our theories for the finale. Now we pick up with a student being thrown into the woods, which is where we realise they've been dropped in with the contagious supes. The kid says, "What did I do?" and it's possible that he was just grabbed up by Shettys' goons without even doing anything wrong. In the past, they'd moved kids here from Sage Grove, which is why Sam was present rather than him being a student. This is because if a student went missing, people might ask questions, but here they've started dipping into their own classes. I feel like this shows they've taken things to the next level, and in order to stop students asking about the others, they've pulled them all together.
Andy?
This is why this guy recognizes him, but let me know below if you took it another way. Either way, Shetty and Cardosa's watching on as they die, with the former wanting to make it airborne. There's obviously been a lot of fears over viruses in the last couple of years, and I think this is touching upon some of the conspiracy theories surrounding how some have been created. Gotta skirt around it because YouTube demonetizes channels for talking about it, but I'm sure if I show up at your house to go over it, I'll just get one of my videos demonetized. Either way, Cardosa feels like he's in too deep now because he's having to basically kill the deep. Getting a phone call from Kate, Shetty asks if she's taking her medication, and you could actually catch Kate taking it earlier in the episodes. Not doing it means she's now off the leash, and this is slowly pushing her towards being a villain. On a TV, we get some foreshadowing for what's to come with Victoria Newman, as we see Cameron Coleman, who pops up later on in the episode. Around it, we can also catch some Funko Pops of Homelander, 2 Starlights, and a Black Noir. Got most of them, except that Starlight one with the original uniform there, which is also boxed up to the right hand side with the Amazon exclusive sticker. Ooh. Now there's also a Homelander figure and several little flags, which the character of course uses as a cape. We also hear Coleman say,
"With the historically unpopular and phony socialist scammer herself, Vice Presidential candidate Victoria Newman."
And Newman is basically an AOC parody, and this is what many of her critics call her. He also mentions George Soros, who donates a lot to the Democratic Party. As we know though, it doesn't matter either way because Vort's in control of both of these sides. They whip people up into a frenzy where they've become so tribal that they'll stand by their side no matter what's revealed. This loyalty has created massive followers who'll do whatever they can to do things that then benefit Vort. Now around the table we see that no one really trusts Kate, and also detail we've only recently caught with Jordan. Our editor Matt pointed out that Jordan actually has 2 sides to their necklace, with one being pearls and the other being a chain. Left by herself with none of her friends, throughout this episode we see Kate feeling like she's truly been abandoned. Now outside we can catch some 7 inspired posters for A-Train, Homelander, Starlight, The Deep, and what I think is also Crimson Countess. From the amount she's been featured in the show, I'm even wondering if the world knows Soldier Boy killed her. Now we also see a poster for Singer and Newman's campaign with Soup Lives Matter spray painted over the top of it. This is later shouted out at the town hall, and it becomes something for the Supes to rally behind. Now no points for guessing what that's a reference to, and in the episode we see how it becomes a chant of rebellion. Marie convinces Jordan to accept Kate's on her side, and we see as the pair then end up kissing. They've obviously got a complicated relationship, but amongst all this they're trying to make it work.
We need Kate.
Now I think in the end, Marie's gonna regret doing this, as she's unleashed the monster that people always suspected she was. Now though, they can break into Shetty's computer because they know that no one's gonna believe them. However, Victoria can provide a way to expose her, and luckily for them, she's speaking at the school. With Sam and Emma, the former starts having fun at God U, and he also discovers the Scarlet toy that was featured in the main boys show. Even lights up just like how she does, and though she wants him to lie low, he finally wants to live his life. He's pretty much gone from one cell to the other, and we even see the bars in the windows have been brought down. Now he says,
"The last time I had Burger, I was with Luke."
And we've seen this fast food chain popping up in the show. Now there are some Easter eggs that we've pointed out before, but just in case you've missed them, here they are. Emma's dresser has lots of different size clothes on it, and this is due to her shrinking size depending on how much she's sick. There's also a Starlight Funko on the dresser, and Termite's Crazy Love 2 poster hanging up on the wall. Next to it is the Queen Maeve one, which we've said 1,000 times, it's based off the Wonder Woman solo movie that came from DC. Now in Shetty's office we see Marie and Jordan going through the files, and they learn what's a pretty big bombshell in a hidden part of the drawer. Turns out Shetty's daughter and husband were on the Atlantic flight that Homelander and Maeve caused to crash during Season 1. It's probably the first thing I think of when I think back to that season, and it's such a cool way to tie the main show in with this. As soon as you start seeing the reports, you start figuring it out, and I genuinely got goosebumps seeing the pieces fall in place. As she opens the file, we see a photo of a man and details of the rescue crew searching in the wreckage. I did go back and look through the episode, but unfortunately I couldn't find this guy. However, there were two girls that may have tried to hand to Homelander, but whether either of these was Shettys' child or not, we never get confirmed. However, it instantly makes sense why she's developing the virus, and in many ways she's mirroring Butcher's arc in the comic. Becca was killed due to a supes action in that, which was used as the basis for the show. This then set him on a path of vengeance, which we'll talk about more at the end of the video. Once we get into it though, you'll see how some of the characters are, and they may skip over him doing it in favour of what happens with her. Now, much like Butcher, working with the government in Vought has opened up the truth, and since then she's used their resources to mount up a plan. Cadosa then ends up coming in and peeing in some alcohol, which I wondered, was that a Granny's peach tea reference? Now, overhearing his ramblings, they then discover the infection rates before we cut to the skyline of New York City. If you look closer, you can actually see they added in 7 Tower, and we can catch the cranes at the top still repairing the damage from Season 3. Now, it turns out Shetty was meeting with none other than Grace Mallory, making this feel even closer to the main series. Grace is of course sort of aligned with Shetty's goals, as her grandkids were killed by Lamplighter. Like Shetty, she's lost 2 people that she cared about, and Shetty wants to help her carry out her genocide. Now Mallory wants her to stop, and warns her that Vought will crush her and everyone that she cares about. Grace sees vengeance as being something that won't bring her loved ones back, but Shetty argues it could save others from facing the same loss. At this point, Grace ends up giving a nod to Billy, which again I believe paints them out as being on similar arcs.
A man who works for me, one of your fellow countrymen, although I doubt you travel in the same circles, has this same rage.
This rage is something that consumed Butcher, and in the end it's what's gonna destroy him. Makes me wonder whether he'll pop up at some point in the finale, and he may even be someone who learns about the virus. Right now he's living on borrowed time, as the doctors gave him less than 2 years to live. Season 3 ended with him planning the downfall of Victoria Newman, which the events of this show could end up leading into. It definitely seems like they're setting her up as a big villain, and if she gets the vice presidency, then I've no doubt she'll be in the hot seat soon. Now with Sam, we see as he comes out of the cupboard and starts exploring the room. On the photos on the wall, we can also catch Emma's sparring opponent from episode 1 when she was filming her fight video. There's also a Barbie Jeep as well, with some other small cars on the shelf, which I'm guessing that she rides around in. Man starts going through the underwear drawer too, invading her privacy a lot there, mate, but we can see that she's got all sizes in there. Hearing a bang and rushing outside, we can see that one of the Iceman-inspired supes has created a nice little ice slide. This is by Steve, who we met earlier in the season when Emma returned to her room after going big on social media. Rufus then leads Sam to the town hall, and it kinda shows how naive he is. Sam hasn't had much experience, and thus he's able to be easily led into being part of the supe uprising. In the comics, this too was inspired by Homelander, who after the events of Herogasm started inspiring supes to resist their leaders. It was actually during this arc that he caused a plane to crash, which somewhat links in with what happened with Shetty. Now on the Cameron Coleman show, we see an interview with Polarity. Polarity is described as a God-fearing supe that bleeds red, white and blue, and thus he's given a warm welcome. The Democratic Victoria isn't, but I was actually expecting Coleman to go a bit easy on her because, in the end, she's still someone that Vought won in control. This might have been a last minute thing though, as we do learn Polarity was originally supposed to be the moderator. Coleman might also not have any information about what's going on, and he could just be kept in the dark because the character's just a puppet. Anyway, as we see, Andre's seen how much bullshit goes on now, and there's not actually anyone heroic at Vought. His dad still wants what's best for him though, and I thought it was a nice touch to include Andre's posters up around the display. Now what's going to bring them together is what happens next with Polarity, and he has a seizure that causes powers to go into overdrive. This brings the entire set crashing down, and from here we cut to commercials and see an ad for Vought Pharmaceuticals. The early days were of course doing this before they got in the superhero business, and using their website link takes you to Sony's television website. Now back with Emma, we see she walks through a giant vault door, showcasing the kind of security that they have at the school. Also notice there's a code red sign in her room, as supes going ballistic would cause a shitload of issues. Rushing out to his dad, we see as Andre has to use his powers to stop him from imploding the ambulance. This has the sign Global Wellness Services on the side, which is riffing off the name and symbol of the Global Wellness Institute. This also sort of looks like the Emily May Foundation from Spider-Man 2, which I had to take myself away from that to just check out this episode, but it was worth it. Now in this world, the services are owned by Vought, showing how they have their hands in everything. Such a cool and chaotic scene, and I was genuinely fearing for that paramedic's life as things started flying about in the back. Cut to Emma looking for Sam, and she comes across Maverick and Sloan. Sloan is actually a student who looks like an alpaca, and alpaca Maverick into the fuck's sake. Anyway, we go to the town hall, which is where we see Victoria getting roasted by Cameron. He brings up both Stormfront and Soldier Boy, who Vought have distanced themselves from, even though they caused it. Now we hear lots of nods to the Superhuman Registration Act, which acted as a way to bring superpowered people under the reign of the government. This led to the major Marvel event Civil War, which was started off by a soup exploding just like Soldier Boy. Newman wants to offer a seat at the table for the soups, and as Coleman mentions, she's currently not too popular with them. What I think is brilliant about this is that Victoria herself is of course a soup, but she's hidden it from almost everyone so that she can infiltrate the government. At the moment, it seems like they're barred from doing so, and in the end, Vought has all the power. I wonder if her revealing this will eventually win round the super community and then push her and Singer over the edge to become the winners of the election. I kinda doubt it though, because then the head exploding thing could be linked with her, but as we learn, she's very similar to Marie. Now with her and Jordan we see as they make a distraction, which leads to her dislocating Justine's jaw, who's chilling out with Ratgirl. Lots of powers on display like eye lasers, and it leads to the guards then leaving their posts. Now at this point Vic's asked whether Homelander will stand trial for killing someone. There's very much the feeling that supes are superior and that it's the humans that should bow down to them. Homelander's weaponized them all under one cause, which has a similar motif to what he does in the comics. Sort of like a Sniper Wolf, I'll not keep going on about it, but it's sort of like a Sniper Wolf situation where him not being held properly accountable opens up the doors for other supes to break the law and act how they want. The government isn't treating them fairly at all, and Victoria wants to use them as a way to win. However, due to the backlash here, I think they might go in a Civil War direction and instead offer the majority of humans the chance to impede their rights. They may fear the supes could replace them, but Vic could spin it that they get the best of both worlds. Her standing up here could show she doesn't fear the supes, which in the eyes of regular people would make her look strong. As we know though, she could easily explode everyone's head, so it's not much of a case of her being fearless, she's just more powerful than they are. Now we get some further nods to the X-Men here, with a girl's eyes flashing purple like Psylocke, and also one screaming similar to Banshee. Taken off stage, Vic recognizes Marie, and we learn that she's in fact her benefactor. Both went to Red River, and both have the same powers, and she's willing to tell Marie who she really is. Now she seems friendly and says that she gave her a little boost, but I think she may want to use her for nefarious purposes. Say something about Vic that gets put into the spotlight, and she becomes the one who's suspected as the head popper. She could shift the blame to Marie, and though the dates don't necessarily line up due to her being in Red River, I'm sure they could do something to spread misinformation. Now back with Shetty, we see as Kate confronts her, and she tests whether she actually loves her for real. Shetty genuinely cares, and in the end she sees her as a surrogate daughter. Now Kate needs a mother too, and Shetty promises to keep her safe from the virus. It seems legit, but Kate's very much an embodiment of her killing her own mother and casting her ties to humanity away. During the boys' diabolical, we saw the students of Red River breaking out and going out to enact revenge on their parents. I feel like Kate's killing Shetty in the same vein as this too, with it being about her stepping out from the confines of someone who's controlled her. Also, quick correction, last breakdown I called Kate a reality warper, but as you guys pointed out, she isn't really. She's mainly just a powerful psychic, rather than being someone that can change the fabric of reality itself. Now with Newman, we see her and Marie meeting for the first time and can catch some posters on the wall. Along with the Dawn of the Seven Ones, we have a Crimson Countess Whiskey Sunrise, which is a play on the Tequila Sunrise film. There's also Translucent's Invisible Force 2, and I love the way his head's missing from the suit, and the tagline, "You can't kill what you can't see." Now Newman also, well you can if you stick a bomb up their arse. Now Newman also makes a joke about her powers.
Otherwise, I think they might take off my head.
This is her way more charming than we've seen her before, and I feel like she's a different woman after stepping out from under Vought. Getting Marie to sense the V in her blood, this very much creates a connection between the pair in which they're quote-unquote blood sisters. Marie's been looking for a real mentor and connection since episode 1, and it seems like Vic may be the one. Marie tells her about the virus, but she seems to just brush it off and tells Marie to go back to school. She says she could be
The first black woman in the 7.
which is something Marie's wanted since episode 1.
I think you meant to say first black woman in the 7.
This is all that she's ever focused on, but in the end, Marie seems like she's gonna go against this in order to do the right thing. That's what I really love about The Boys, and though it seems like it's just a parody, it also has these really heroic arcs for their characters to go on. Now, the series has been very focused on parental and mentor figures, due to them being the ones that made their kids take the V. Nowhere has this conflict been stronger than with Andre and his dad, who we catch at his bedside in hospital. Judging by the windows, I'm guessing this is the 7th tower, which someone of his stature would be taken to be looked after. He ends up not going out to Shettys while the rest do, and it's going to be interesting to see if he abandons his dad for the finale. Now here we catch Kate having instructed Shetty to be under her control. This is given to us with a nice little clue that Kate's eyes are bloodshot at this point. Here we see that the roles have been reversed and all the fears everyone had about Kate have come true. She is holding Shetty hostage, but she has fair reason with the reveal of what's happening at the school. They're not there to study, it's there to study them, and Shetty wants to unleash the disease and wipe out them all. Shetty won't let the supes continue their path of destruction, and she knows that the supes are destined to cause misery. This is something that we saw from the off when Huey's girlfriend had a train ran on her. Probably could have worded that better, but you know what I'm saying, they always cause pain. Anyway, Shetty wanted Kate to kill everyone in the woods, cover it up, and then unleash the virus. Shetty just wants to forget, but it's too far gone, and Kate has her do something that gets the video demonetized. Now it's so cold how Kate forces Marie not to help, and it brings things full circle from the girl that she saved in the club. Marie could do it, but she's continued to align herself with people who aren't too interested in actually saving others. Sam says it's justice, and he and Kate are two supes that I can see teaming up next time. Now with Newman, we see her collecting the virus from Cardoso with him being completely unaware that she's a supe. He says he just wants to compassionately control them, which does sound similar to phrases often used in genocide. Man gets his head popped off in what's an amazing reveal, and we close out at the song Heads Will Roll by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. This starts with the lyrics "Off with your head," perfectly playing off what happens in this scene. Newman now has the only container for the virus, and she could even study this for a way to immunize herself and wipe the rest out. I do feel like her blood powers could even keep her safe, as she'd be able to potentially take it out her system. If Marie can see V within someone's blood, the pair could actually potentially pull it out of their system. Either way, there's lots of things to look forward to next week, and I absolutely love this finale. The series has been killing it, and this week was the best one so far for me. Just can see all the pieces falling into place, and there's so many major reveals in it that I wasn't expecting at all. Bringing Victoria into it as well was a big move, and it's just so good watching her, Kate and Shetty, what happened to them in the episode. Now we are going to be getting into comic spoilers, so check out now if you don't want to know what could be happening. I have talked about this a fair few times before, so you might also just get bored, so if you leave, I'm not bothered. You son of a bitch. Either way, Homelander ends up rising with the majority of the supes, and he kills the President Vic and tries to take control. At this point, Butch is sent in, and after the Black Noir reveal that he's a clone of Homelander, he ends up killing him before Butcher takes his life. And the comic keeps going, and we see as Butcher kills the rest of the boys' team, all except for Huey. His endgame is to set off a radio frequency that will trigger V within all the supes and cause them to die en masse across the entire planet. Now that hasn't been set up like it has been in the comics, and instead I think the virus will be what goes down in the show. I am predicting that Vic gets put in the presidential seat after she takes out Singer, and then Butcher will take the virus from her and unleash it on the world. I know he doesn't have much time left, but I think that's the way that things are going to end up going. Shetty was clearly a stand-in for him, and not only did she lose her family due to the supes, but she also wanted revenge. She created something that could wipe them all out, which Butcher will of course also want to do as well. Now in the end, I'm so hyped to see what happens with it, and I think there's lots of ways that they can end up taking things. Butcher might even end up taking out himself if he still has V24 in his system, and they could go that way with Huey trying to stop his plans. Lots of things going down. Obviously, let me know your thoughts below, and huge thank you again for sitting until this point. Please drop a like on the video, and if you want to support the channel as a member of the Spoiler Society, then please click the join button. You'll get early access to videos every week, and it goes such a long way to helping us out. you want to get some heavy spoilers merch, we've also got our t-shirt line located below the video that will let you pick up all kinds of tops like our Theory Time one, House of Dragons stuff, Marvel tees and a lot more. We drop new designs on there all the time too, so definitely keep an eye out because there will be something you love. Now if you want something else to watch, we've got our Loki breakdown on screen right now, so definitely head over there right after this. But out of the way, huge thank you for sitting through the video. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.